So, are you a travel overpacker or underpacker for craft projects? Because I'm an overpacker, but I need to have those emotional support projects with me. Just, for like anxiety's sake. So, let's go through what I packed for a 2.5 day trip into a city that is super close to me. So keep in mind, I get to be a passenger princess on this trip. That vastly impacts how I'm going to pack things for a travel experience. I got to ride in a car, not be the driver, park at a train station, and get on a train. So basically, all of the commuting time was crafting time. And then when in the city, I'm visiting Chicago for a few days, when in the city, I'm working a bit today, which is Friday, and then I have goof off time, and I'm taking the train back on Sunday. So all of that to say, there is a bit of downtime between the commutes, some of the working, the post work time, etc. So let's talk about what I brought. Obvious, obviously, need a notebook. Can't live without that. It has all of my project notes for everything that I brought, as well as space to put the new stuff that I'm gonna be working on, right? Because I brought like yarn to cast things on as well. We're gonna see how unhinged this is in a second. So this is a fun little like tennis slip dress that I'm knitting out of cotton that was recycled from a sweater I thrifted years ago, intentionally to unravel. So I bought this cotton sweater for a couple of bucks from a thrift store, and I bought it with the plan to unravel it. So I had checked the seams while I was at the thrift store to make sure that they were the type that you can just pull apart quickly and that the yarn isn't cut on every end. It was a colorful and chaotic sweater, so when it caked up, it made this lovely little rainbowy situation. Now, I picked like a large size sweater to unravel, so there was a lot of yarn. I've actually had this yarn in my stash for years, but I'm trying to stash bust, and I really have wanted to make this into a dress, so I said now's the time. When I cast this on, let's consult my notebook. I cast it on June 10th, and it's basically just a tube, right? Like, it's not hard. I did some back and forth to make this little side slit in the beginning, but it's in the round from there on out, and I'm nearing the end. This is all the yarn I have left, and I really went into this without a big plan, so I have been a little nervous about what to do for the bodice part, the top. And while we were on the train, my travel companion came up with an excellent idea for the treatment of the top. I'm going to kind of do a sweetheart type situation, bind off a bunch of stitches on the back, and then just make two straps with eyelets in the back so I can crisscross them, wear it like a halter, loop it into the back, and weave a beautiful mesh back tie if I want, whatever. So I thought that was a really clever idea, so props to my sister-in-law for being a genius. The next project I brought is one that I would have just brought this one had I thought I would have enough yarn to make it an interesting experience. It's this cute little mesh crochet tank top, right? Like, it's gonna be really fun. I'm gonna put, because this is kind of see-through here, I'm gonna put like a jersey knit fabric lining back there so that I can wear this without anything under it and not be super exposed. It's very cute. The fit is amazing. I'm just freehanding this one. I really wanted it to be long enough to have a mesh portion at the bottom as well, beyond the bust area, but this is what we got. This is it. This is all that's left. It's this weird cotton yarn that kind of goes thick to thin. You can't really see it's got like a texture to it. It's nubby, it's discontinued, and it's unique. It's by Knit One Crochet 2, and it's called Pea Pod. Not the color, the yarn, because it's got like these bumps like peas in a pod. And I bought it because I found it in a discount bin for $1 and I thought it was unique and would be a fun summer something. I'm hoping I can squeak out at least a few more rows from this. I don't know, guys. We're flying by the seat of our pants for a lot of these projects. The next thing I brought, I have already finished my Gooseberry Socks out of the cesium yarns, but this was the first version I made, which is out of some black yarn and an eco-dyed wool that I dyed with marigolds and violets and a few other flowers and some turmeric on this really cute, yeah, you can kind of see like there's a little bit of purple in there, barely. It's just this lovely, botanically dyed, very muted skein of yarn that I've had, and it makes just really just the cutest socks. So this was the first version of my gooseberry pattern that I tested out, and this is the 64 stitch cast on, and it's tight, y'all. I can't get my foot in here, so this is going to be a pair for one of my kiddos because they have smaller feet than me. But it's just a single sock. I got disheartened that it wasn't going to fit me, stopped, cast on the other pair with the cesium yarns that was so kindly sent to me in a bigger size, tested the bigger size with that, and now I have one sock syndrome. Usually I'm really good about immediately casting on the second sock, but just because I was testing the next size, I didn't do it, and I got disheartened. But I'm ready for the second one now. I'm excited about it. But that's a cast on, right? Like I don't know, do you bring projects that you have to start on your trip to cast on? Sometimes if I'm feeling nervous, counting a cast on and doing the first few rows is a really good way for me to get out of my head and just focus on something else. If I'm, I don't know, stressed. Which is nice. So that's why I usually do bring like just some basic sock yarn and my DPNs and my favorite sock needle for in the round. I usually just bring a plain yarn, which is what I have here. This is some yarn that I made a pair of socks for my grandma out of this spring, and I was thinking about casting on another pair for her and doing with the black, if there's any left over from this sock, doing like a little bit of color work at the top, maybe the gooseberries. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm not quite sure I would have enough to do 2 socks. Well, I guess technically 3 with the color work. So it's a debate, right? I'm for sure this would have been like, had I not brought this, no matter what other projects I brought, I would have brought this along and my sock needle things, because I have my basic sock pattern that I use for myself memorized, so I would have cast on and made some socks for someone. I also kept a needle in here that's compatible for a fingering weight hat, so that was another option. Having a cast on for something that is mindless enough that will be like kind of stress-free and small is really important for when I travel. The only other thing in my cute little knitting bag that I made forever ago, back when I was making bags, I put this in. So this influencer hand, this is the sample, this is actually all that's left of the yarn that I made my ball gown out of. Video Magic. We remember her. This is all that's left of it because I finished the cargo net that went up in the stuffed animal obsessed child's room, and it works great. Maybe Video Magic. I don't know. I know I didn't take photos of it. If I'm editing this while I'm on the road, I'm not going to have photos of it, but who knows? Maybe you'll see how the cargo net looks over here. But I brought this with because I'm really hopeful that I'm going to be going to a textile emporium on Saturday. And at that textile emporium, I have high hopes that I'm going to find the perfect match, the perfect fabric that I'm envisioning in my head of a nude, stretchy, silky lining fabric for this dress. I'm hopeful, yes I am hopeful for today. So that I can finally make the lining and wear the ball gown around my house to feed the chickens and stuff without just having a big lace panel and my underwear under it, which honestly is a look, especially when I pair it with my rubber chore boots, which I have done. Great look, love it, love her. But if I want to wear this to an actual ball, I probably want some sort of coverage. Plus, I think it will make it just have a really nice, polished, very, very strong finished garment look to it, which I put a lot of hours into it. We probably want it to look like a finished garment. So I brought the green because I want to match tone and make sure that the beige or nude color that I choose, A, pops against this, right? Like we want this to really show off, and B, like blends enough that it's not like super contrasty, right? So I have a tall order. I'm really excited to do that. Hopefully I will film some of it because the textile emporium that I'm going to is massive and I've never been there, and I'm really excited. So hopefully I'll be able to take you along with me. Other than that, I would love to hear how insane your travel overpacking is for projects, or how moderate it is. It doesn't matter. Even if I'm like going on a short drive, I almost always have some project in my bag. I don't like the thought of ending up somewhere with nothing to do. Maybe that's a me problem. I know I'm not alone. I've talked to other crafters that overpack for their travels. So sound off in the comments below or message me on any of the socials. I'd love to hear how you pack your crafty goods for travel. Okay, I'm gonna go enjoy the city. I'm sure I'll clip in some footage of enjoying the city here. And until next time, stay crafty.